So I was having a consultation with someone the other day who told me they wanted to become a real estate investor and they're just getting started from scratch. They don't know any of the ins and outs of the game, but they knew that I could help give them some practical steps on what they wanted to do. So we took about an hour to flesh through some of the practical steps that they could take, and I thought it would be beneficial to you or maybe to people that you know who are looking for some practical steps, some ways to get into real estate investing. So the first thing that I told this individual they need to focus on is what kind, I'm going to use the word avatar, okay? What kind of real estate investor do you want to be? Do you want to be an active investor or do you want to be a passive investor? This is very important because if you're an active investor, which a lot of people want to be, but they don't have the skill set or the experience to be. At some point you could be, but if you're just getting started, most likely you can get started as an active investor, but you better have an awesome coach, you better have an awesome community, and you better have a lot of courage because you may lose if you're not as experienced as you need to be. For passive investing, you're just playing a supporting role to an active investor, which is a great way to get in the game. But the first step that I would take is to define what type of real estate investor do I want to be. If I ultimately want to be an active investor and I have to start as a passive investor, what role can I play in an active investor's deal? Number two, I would say location, especially if you're active. If you're active, you want to make sure that you are investing in your back door. I don't recommend people who are just getting started to be investing in other states. It's stupid because you don't know the laws, you don't know the issues for squatting, for evictions. It's a lot of stuff that goes into buying properties, especially if you're buying them and holding them as rentals or buying them and flipping them. If you're flipping them, you got to fix them. You got to deal with contractors in that area. You got to deal with people getting over on you. You got to deal with somebody showing up at your site telling you that all your appliances are gone. Like, this is the kind of stuff you're going to deal with, especially when people know they're dealing with an active investor from another state. So starting your back door. As a passive investor, you could get away with working with an active investor in another state. I have people who are passive investors on my deal. They are private money lenders. They lend money to my company for deals, and they live in other states. So they can get away with it because they just get mailbox money. But location, location, location. If you're looking at areas in your back door, I'm talking about finding where you live and then finding about 2 or 3 hot spots around that. Nice, solid cities or municipalities or communities that are large enough within maybe a 20 to 25 mile radius. I would probably want to shrink that down to maybe 10 if you're just getting started. Number 3, we want to focus on buy box. That means what type of real estate do you want to buy? Is it single family? Okay, if it's single family, is it 3 bedroom, 2 bath, the median home size? 4 bedroom, 2 bath? What is the square footage that you want to average? What is the price range? Is it 250? Is it 550? Is it upper class areas, middle class, lower class areas? Or, you know, in terms of real estate, you have class A, class B, class C, class D. That's the hood. That's the trap house. Okay. But you just need to be clear on that and know what your buy box is, because if you don't know what your buy box is and opportunities show up, you're going to miss them, or the wrong opportunities show up and you're going to find yourself pulling on deals that you shouldn't be pulling on because it doesn't meet your buy box. I break my buy box down to the year. I break my buy box down to the type of home, because there's some homes are not at the top of my buy box list. So that's very important. Number four, we want to talk about financing. That's very important because either you're going to finance your deals from a conventional way or you're going to finance your deals from a creative way, and it may be a little bit of both. I lean towards the creative way because it's a low barrier to entry, strategies like subject to, seller finance, and at the very least, it could be a lease option, but I would prefer subject to type transactions. That's going to play a very important role. So your financing, if you go to conventional route, you're going to probably need more cash. You're going to need credit. There are things that you just need to consider. And then 5, last but not least, I'm going to use team. This is where if you're in an attorney state, you got to find you a good closing attorney. If you're in a title state where you don't necessarily need closing attorneys, you're going to have to find a good title company. You probably want to get a good transaction coordinator to work with, a real estate agent, a good contractor, some general contractor, maybe a project manager. You might want some acquisition people to help you and even some disposition, maybe an assistant. I know we live in a virtual world where a lot of people deal with virtual assistants, but it depends on how big you want your company to be. It's going to have a lot to do with the culture you build. So if me and you were having a 1-hour consultation like I just had with a gentleman who wants to get in the game, I would say you need to get educated. The good thing is I have courses and training modules to break each of these things down so that you can educate yourself, familiarize yourself with the ins and outs. And we also have a community of people who are actively involved in active and passive real estate investing. They know a lot of the ins and outs. They're learning it. We have weekly coaching calls. We have monthly real estate meetups in person, and we have some virtual events. But we have a lot of courses. We have workshops quarterly that could really help you. So again, if I had to just give you 5 steps to getting started, I would say get your avatar, get your location, get your buy box, get your financing, get your team, and guess what? Get you a deal.